Hey everyone, I'm Love Cosmo. Welcome back to my channel where we use astrology and other metaphysical things as tools for self-development and life improvement. Welcome back. Thanks for joining me again. Today we're going to be talking about the sign of Cancer. I missed yesterday because I was super busy. It's been a very busy week, the worst week to start a YouTube channel, but yeah, I'm having a good time doing this, so I'm okay setting aside the time that I need to do this. Yeah, we're going to talk about the sign of Cancer, which is one of my favorite zodiac signs because I think of Cancer as kind of like the glue that holds things together. So whether you're talking homes, friendships, workplaces, any type of group setting, Cancer is that mushy energy that helps make everyone feel comfortable and at home. So Cancer rules over the fourth house, which is the house of home, and specifically your parents' home, like the home that you grew up um, in your childhood, and it represents memories in childhood as well. Um, the sign of Cancer is ruled by the moon, so you can expect the qualities that we perceive in the moon to also be present in people with Cancer placements, specifically when the moon is in Cancer, since the moon rules Cancer and is exalted in there. So, when you think of Cancer, you can think of someone who's nurturing, someone who's very emotional and intuitive. Um, that intuition comes really in handy when figuring out like what their loved ones need. Sort of like a motherly energy of taking care of the people around them. That's very much so the sign of Cancer. It rules, like I said, the home and childhood memories and your childhood home and all of these things that sort of memories in general. I think can be seen as the record keeper of the zodiac, having, you know, a lot of sentimental value that they give to things that are emotionally, impactful to them. So things that have affected them emotionally, they really cling on to those things. So that's people, places, things. Cancer is the type to hold on to these things and to preserve things from the past that are valuable to them. And what's valuable to them is things that give them a warm, cozy feeling of the past and home. So they're very much so homebodies because they like to be at home. The Cancers that I know would prefer to be home and do something over going out and doing anything. So that's kind of one of those things that it's important for a Cancer to keep in mind, whether your sun is in Cancer, moon in Cancer, whatever. With just the Cancer energy, needs to learn to balance the home life and the outer life, the inner life and the outer life, not being too in their shell, so to say, because the glyph that rules Cancer is the crab. So you can see a lot of characteristics that um, you can perceive a lot of characteristics in Cancer that you would also perceive in a crab, such as sidestepping. So crabs are notorious to sort of move side to side, as opposed to back and forward, like a lot of, I guess, other animals do. And this kind of is indicative of Cancer's ability, or it's sort of an ability, because it's what makes them so nurturing, sort of like a mother who's always forgiving their child for things. They don't really confront issues directly. They kind of want to keep the peace almost, and keep. They address their own emotions. Don't get me wrong, because a Cancer's emotional state is very important to them. So they do guard their emotions and they do want what's best for them, but they go about it kind of sideways. They don't really like to it's kind of like Taurus that we mentioned with Taurus before, where Taurus can get kind of stuck in their ways. I guess this is kind of the moon's influence on Taurus peeking through, because they can get stuck. Cancers can also get stuck in their ways, sort of getting clingy and clinging to what's normal and what's easy for them and what's emotionally stable for them. So even if they're in situations that might need some assertion and some actual direct um, intervention, they're less likely to make this bold, direct move or gesture. It's more of a sidestepping motion to sort of avoid having to deal with the problem a little bit. But cancers are definitely really intuitive and kind people. So a lot of the times that's really what it's about. They don't want to hurt anyone. They don't want to hurt themselves. So, when it comes to situations, they prefer to just cling on to what's normal and cling on to the past, because it's easy for them and that's what's comfortable for them. And there's a place for that, because Cancer then becomes the preserver of the past. And I know that we've spoken before about the opposing sign, or not opposing sign, but the signs opposite the signs in the zodiac. So the sign opposite of Cancer is Capricorn. So what do Capricorns and Cancers have in common? Well, you can typically expect that Capricorns and Cancers are going to care about stability for their loved ones. They care for their loved ones, and they want the best life for themselves and their loved ones, and for success, and basically success in the physical world for them. So that's what Cancer has to sort of learn from Capricorn, to be goal oriented, to not kind of let their emotions control them, because Cancers can be prone to that. That even is the cause of the sideward stepping, and they're very emotional people, and they let their emotions control them. So Capricorn is not like that. Capricorn's an earth sign that's very not emotional. They're very much more practical and grounded. So Cancer can learn from Capricorn in that way, by just kind of being goal oriented and not being so much of kind of a princess. That's also kind of what I think of when I think of Cancer, because remember what I've mentioned before about signs reaching forward also to the sign ahead of them, and ahead of Cancer is Leo. So Cancer is kind of like that princess energy. It's like not fully developed ego, like I mentioned. It's good for Cancers to remember to be goal oriented and to do things that will set them up for success in this physical reality. And that's kind of like what the Sun is good at. The Sun is good at being an example of material and success in the conscious material realm that the Sun is representative of. But the sign of Cancer is actually ruled by the Moon, which is the subconscious mind, and is a little bit more mysterious and subtle with its voice. So the Sun is more like, I am this, like, this is me, and I am this. And the Moon is more like, okay, but I also have these other more subtle qualities and these other things that are very much so a part of my being, just as much as that other thing that I take pride in being, and that I'm learning to be, learning to display in this life. So that's kind of where the Sun and the Moon are different. In general, but the Moon rules Cancer, and it's more indicative of the subconscious mind, and excuse me, and like that small voice in the back of your head, as opposed to that louder, more dominant voice that is usually kind of taking the steering wheel of your life. So Cancer also becomes your moon sign, also becomes important later in life. Like I've heard that later in life is when you start to show the signs of your moon sign, with the moon rules Cancer. And I think that's because it takes time for you to be able to look into the past, and see what things are going to make or be better for you and more nourishing for you in your life. Because I think that's ultimately what the sign of Cancer will represent in your chart as well. That area of life that's kind of going to be nourishing for you. And that's the kind of theme with Cancer and the moon, of this nourishment and being nourished in some area of your life. So wherever the moon is, for instance, is an area of life that when things are going well in that area of life, you feel stable, you feel emotionally and physically secure, which are things that the sign of Cancer represents. Security and stability, sort of like the sign of Taurus. But I think that with Cancer is an extra amount of emphasis placed on the emotions, and like how secure and stable your emotions particularly are. Cancers are very concerned with how their emotions are at any given time, and this makes them brilliant and creative artists. Cancers are some of the most creative people, or people with strong Cancer placements are some of the most creative people, because they're really able to translate their emotions into reality when they are able to be goal oriented, and give physicality to their emotionality, if that makes sense. When they get that chance to make their emotions into a physical thing, whether it be a child, a family, a home, or a creation of some sort. Once they have that ability to be goal oriented and set those things up or create those things, they'll be masterpieces. And they can be some of the best artists that some of the best you know musicians. And let's see, what else about Cancer? Cancers can be very organized and planned and cleanly. Clean. Cancers can be very organized and clean, that I've observed. Cancers are the type to have post-it notes and have notes for themselves everywhere. They're the type to have a calendar that has things marked on it for them to remember, because you have to remember that Cancer is this motherly, nurturing energy. And when you think of the mother in the home, you think of this person who has the kids lunch packed, who has the kids dressed for school, out the door, cleans the home, makes dinner, has everybody's else's sort of affairs in order, and they're sort of like that glue, like I said before, that holds everything together, because they're so organized. And that's why that organization becomes very important to them, because they want to be able to be there for people in their lives. So one thing that's really important for Cancers to remember in life is to enforce proper boundaries, sort of like Capricorn, where you know you're not necessarily always being driven by your emotions and putting yourself in bad emotional situations, because you're enforcing boundaries, but you're still keeping those relationships. You're not just retreating into your shell. You're actually keeping the relationships, keeping the nourishing, loving, motherly energy that you love to have. But some people might take advantage of this energy. And it's important to set boundaries so that you yourself don't become sort of burnt out trying to do things for other people and feel like no one's doing these things for you, because that's another thing. Cancer is like the princess. They like things to be done for them, to be honest. That's why a good match for Cancer actually would be Capricorn, because Capricorn likes to do things and likes to be in control of doing things for others, for the people that they love. So that's why Cancer has to set boundaries though, so that they're not doing this too much for anyone else and no one's doing that too much for them. They need to be able to stand on their own 2 feet and nourish their life and the people around them, just like they are here to do. And like I said, cancers are the glue. Cancers will always be that ooey gooey part inside of the crab that holds everything together and that is worth being protected. That princess energy. You can think of Cancer when you think of kind of like let's see. I like to think of the mother, and the mother that will give birth to the child, the princess who will one day be queen when she gives birth to creation, which is kind of reaching forward for Leo, because Leo, which is the next sign after Cancer, represents creation, and being that their creations are very important to them. So that's kind of what Cancer is learning to cultivate as well in this life. Their ability to put themselves first when necessary, while still having that giving and loving nature. And remember to speak up for yourself sometimes, because like the moon, Cancer's voice can be very subtle and very soft. But remember to speak up for yourself, and not just for others, because Cancers are very protective people. They'll protect people around them, whether it's a verbal thing that they need to do to protect them, or they will get physical. Cancers are not afraid to get physical with someone to protect someone that they love. You can think of crabs having the pinchers, and the moon is protecting the earth from all kinds of things, such as the gravity, from things having to do with gravity to things having to do with protecting it from debris. It's kind of like the Earth's little protector. So when you think of the Earth or the moon, think of this protector energy, sort of like the shell of a crab being protective. So the shell of the crab is their home, which is which you can relate to Cancer, and it's also there to protect them. And like I said, Cancers protect and preserve the things from the past. Capricorn has to do with death and getting rid of things, and recycling, getting rid of things after they've run their life. The Cancers actually have the opposite, where they're there to preserve the past and thereby keep families together, keep communities together, keep life together. Cancer is a glue. So that I would say, for Cancers, just watch out for, like I said, kind of the princess, the the negative version of a princess that always wants to be catered to, that always sees themselves as the victim and doesn't really care what others really want. It's kind of those negative qualities of Leo reaching forward. So kind of watch out for that. Just kind of watch out for playing the victim and being, hosting this pity party for yourself. Like, I think that's a water sign thing, and it can cause Cancer to come across as manipulative for that reason. And the Cancers are good at using emotions to their advantage and manipulating people's emotions if needed. I'm coming up on 20 minutes here. I'm wondering if there's anything else. I'm sure that there's other things that I didn't write down in the quick time that I prepared for this. But I think that about does it. Cancers are super loyal. I already kind of touched on that with their protective instincts and their ability to protect the people around them. I already touched on their creativity and the fact that you want to use your creativity to your advantage, set goals and set boundaries, just like the Capricorn, your opposing sign. Don't be overly sensitive. Remember, your emotions are important, but remember that other people aren't necessarily as emotionally delicate as you can be, and you can really take things personally when it's not meant to be like that. So I think that that's something I possibly can see in cancers, that I think I've heard before as well about cancers. Yeah, no, I think that that's about it that I can think of right now. So I hope that you enjoyed this discussion on the sign of Cancer. I hope I didn't leave anything major out, but if I did, please drop it in the comments below. Drop any advice or any criticism that you have down below, because I would like to be what you like to see here. So yeah, I hope that you all have a great evening wherever you are. I'm super happy to have been able to sit here with you today, because I missed yesterday because I was so tired. But I made it today and I'm happy. So, um, yeah, cancers, you all are the part of the past that we want to preserve: family, tradition, the home, you know, our emotions and memories. We have to protect you at all costs, our princess of the zodiac. So, yeah, I really enjoyed spending this time with you today, and I'll see you next time.